My wife came out as asexual and that's why we don't smash, so I said divorce. Now she's refusing to accept it and said I can have unlimited access to her friend instead. My wife, 29F, and I, 34M, have been married for 4 years, and up until a year and a half ago, things were fantastic. Our marriage began to deteriorate after there was a significant drop in our under-the-sheets fun between us, not intimacy, just the actual physical aspect of the relationship. We would still cuddle and have deep intimate moments talking and just being around each other, but she kept rejecting my attempts to take things further past kissing. Now, we have had no problem communicating, so I made sure to address it early, and we talked and made adjustments. Well, about a month ago, she returns from her therapy session and tells me that she believes she's asexual, and that's the reason for her non-existent bedroom drive as of late. I was definitely confused because we had such a great bedroom life for a while in the beginning of our relationship, but her telling me that she's now asexual was heartbreaking because everything else is great. Obviously, I'm not going to force her to smash, so we had a long conversation about our relationship, and I came to the conclusion that we should get a divorce. I say because she immediately rejected the idea and said we would figure something out and wouldn't talk to me about it anymore. I didn't know what to say, so I dropped it. Well, 3 weeks go by without smashing, and I decided that I have to do this for my own mental well-being, so I filed for divorce and had her served with the papers. Last week when I got home from work, she was going about the day like nothing was wrong. I asked her if she had signed the papers, and she flat out said, "We are not getting a divorce," then changed the subject and acted like things were normal. Obviously, I thought this was crazy, so I stopped her and said I couldn't be in a marriage devoid of smashing. I mentioned that I was being incredibly fair with our divorce terms. She could keep the house that we bought and paid for with cash, I'd take all of the debt, which isn't much, we'd split our savings and investments in half, and she could keep 2 of our 3 paid-off cars. Thankfully, we don't have kids. I love her and want her to be comfortable, and I have no problem starting over since I make a good income, but she won't budge or talk about the divorce. This brings us to 2 days ago. I get home and go to our bedroom to find my wife's friend, 27F, in our bed, completely undressed. I immediately shut the door, said sorry, and went looking for my wife. I found her in the kitchen and asked what her friend was doing here, and she said that she was here for me. I put 2 and 2 together and said that I'm not smashing with other women in place of the woman I chose to marry. She was adamant about saying that I could sleep with her whenever I wanted and that her friend agreed to it. I couldn't believe things would get this far, so I went back to our bedroom and asked her friend to leave. I packed a bag and have been staying in a nearby hotel since that night. My wife, her mother, and her sister keep calling me, but I'm just not interested in hearing what they have to say. This feels like a trick. I just want this whole thing to be over. Does anyone have advice? Is this some kind of ploy for alimony? Should I just contact my lawyer and try to force the divorce? I'm really uncomfortable with this entire situation. Update 1. I'll try to keep this as concise as possible. I feel overwhelmed, so I probably won't bother with another update after this one. I don't know. My wife came to my hotel last night, and we talked about everything. She told me the full truth and what's going on in her mind. A few of you commented this on the last post, so you were right. She has always been asexual. She and her whole family have known this since she was 16. Apparently, this is the reason why her last long-term relationship of 3 years ended. He broke up with her after the smashing between them diminished to being non-existent after the first year.